So thank you for all of you brave souls who still want to hear about toxic parents. I know it's a lot, what I've been sharing in between the book club meetings, as well as the stuff that's coming up during the book club, right? There's a lot of information to take in when you actually start thinking about the different parenting styles, and if you're watching those videos I'm making, or if you've taken the parenting survey, or if you've done both of those things. It's a lot, besides actually having a life that you're trying to live outside of studying toxic parents, right? But this is the whole foundation of how our personality is formed. And so if you can hang in there and just hold on, the insights that you get will help you a lot in your life to connect some dots, not only about yourself and why you are the way you are, but how other people are, and you'll end up having a lot more compassion for yourself, what you're going through in life in terms of people that trigger you, or whatever it is, wherever you're feeling stuck. You can tie it back to the parenting style. It's that deep and that profound, but it's very heavy work. And so I've been posting on the book club, if you're registered, right, I've been posting the little videos. So I've posted 4 of the 4 personality types you could be, and then the 4 parenting types as well. You hear from the parent's point of view how they see their kid. It's very interesting, right, to hear how a different, parent, they're all getting the same opportunity to talk to the school psychologist, and the attitude of each parent is quite different, and so you'll see like, whoa, okay, so if you took the survey and if your parent was neglectful, and then you see how a neglectful parent acts, it's like, oh my God, because when you're a kid you can't see them like that, but as an adult, when you look again at it, it's actually kind of heartbreaking to see how your parent might have been. There's so many hundreds of thousands of different ways a neglectful parent could act. This is just like a little prototype to give you a flavor, a feel of how they might be. But anyway, so I just wanted to say that. Thank you for hanging in here, you guys. It's I think, a beautiful group effort to have a whole group of people who want to learn this together and who want to go deep into it. And that's the whole foundation of Vedic psychology, is based on your personality, right, and on introspection. And the personality is built by the parents. So we have to go here, to really do the rest. Otherwise, we're not even aware of some of our blind spots, and we're still acting in ways, and we're putting layers of what I'd call like Vedic psychology knowledge in a way. Like you can talk about, look at his ahankara, look at her ahankara. We can use all these different terminologies that we've learned. My samskara, this and that. But until we get to the level of the core foundation that all of that is built on, it's still a little bit, not completely integrated, the knowledge, So this knowledge that you're going to get, depending on how deep you're willing to go, will work at the foundation of the personality, and you'll understand the other things you've learned in Vedic psychology more deeply by understanding this. Okay, and for those of you who are some of you guys are in multiple groups with me, so each group we're going to take a different angle, right? This group, we're reading a book together, and we're not in group therapy. So like I've said in the past, it's also a little tricky. It's like, but wait a minute, we're talking about my mom and my dad and my personality. Yes, for you to introspect on. But in the group, it's really just trying to understand maybe the characteristics of that instead of the characteristics of you. But if we're talking about a neglectful mother and you had one, for example, you can try to understand, okay, is it like that? What did that mean? Or why did she say that? Or contrast that mother against this mother. So try to keep it not personal, your questions to the group, but your own analysis is very personal. It's you're analyzing your own mother, your own life. That's personal. But for the group sharing, we have to keep a boundary around sharing your personal stuff, if that makes sense. Whereas if you're in a different group, like in my conscious communication group, some of you are also in that, there we're seeing how your parenting style is driving how you interact with people, So if your mother was neglectful, guess how you're probably going to be treating other people unknowingly, I mean, that's oversimplified, but that's the idea, is undoing these communication patterns that we think are normal, but are really coming from the parenting style. And if you're in the VP study group, we're examining some scars now, right? For the past 6 months, we've been examining some scars. So we're going to now look at some scars related to parenting style, and how those are formed and how they form how we react to things. So that's why I'm saying whatever I'm teaching, parenting style is at the foundation, And if you're interested in learning more besides that, we have those other groups I just mentioned. Plus, we do have some e-courses where you can hear Babaji talking about the parenting styles, you know? So you can look on our website, and you can, if you have a question, you can type in our book club. You can ask which specific courses if you're not sure which ones. So there's lots to learn. But I also want to say that this is because it's so deep, I don't want to go fast. I gave a lot of information to give you the foundations of the personality types and the parenting types, but now I want to go slow and kind of deeply on those, because you can get a lot of insights if you don't feel the pressure that we have to get through this book in a certain amount of time. You've got to learn those parenting styles. You know, you're each going to learn in your own way as you're applying it in your life from week to week. So I want to keep the pace like now, kind of slow it down and go deeply. What I have today is those videos that I made, because some of you maybe haven't seen them yet, or maybe you've only seen them once, or maybe you saw half and you didn't get to the rest of it. You know, it's like hard to really focus on it. And so what I wanted to do is play one of the mothers, just to start with, and then discuss that and see what happens in this group discussion. So I'm putting on pause the reading just for right now. We may start reading today or not. I want to see what happens. Just analyzing one of the mothers. You have Udasina, right? That one? She's ready to go? Yeah. She's the mother of, is she the first one?
Yes.
The neglectful, right? Yeah, Shunya, okay.
Hi, I'm Udasina. I'm Shunya's mother.
Does it look like I'm looking? Yes, Udasina, hello.
I'm Udasina. I'm Shunya's mother, and I'm confused as to why you called me in to meet with you. My kid doesn't need counseling, and neither do I. But since I made the time to come in, here's what I want to tell you. We are doing fine. Don't get me wrong, we didn't have an easy start. I didn't plan on being a mom, it just happened. I have my own life, and it never really stopped just because I had a kid. Having a child didn't magically make things easier. If anything, it made everything heavier. People expect so much from mothers. I've been trying to keep myself afloat for years. I can barely deal with my own thoughts, let alone someone else's emotions. Honestly, life is overwhelming. I have so much to deal with: work, bills, responsibilities, constant pressure. I have so many things on my mind. And I've never been good with emotions. I was never taught any of that. I wake up tired and go to bed numb. I don't have energy for all that talking and emotional stuff. I shut down when things get too much. I just need quiet. Sure, I had my share of problems, from feeling down after giving birth to my fourth child to having one too many drinks every now and then to take the edge off things. But who would blame me? I did what I had to do to get through it. And Shunya also did what he should have done. He covered for me, so there were no issues there. He stepped up.
Okay, so
I don't know what he's feeling, but that's fine.
Can you pause it? Okay, thank you. So far, what we've heard is from her point of view, right? So she's been called in and to talk to the school, and she can't figure out why. She's like, what's the problem, you know? And then she's getting quite defensive, right? She's like, I have enough of my own problems. I'm over, like, she's the victim. She's the one who got pregnant and gave birth, right? But you see how nothing is her problem, you know? She's like, you know, anyway, please, you know, it's after giving birth to my fourth child, and I'm overwhelmed myself, and I don't have enough room for another person's issues. Like, do you see how that's not at all taking into consideration her responsibility as a mother? You know, a mother, number one priority should be the child, especially the child's feelings. And she's like, I don't get into all this feeling stuff, and it wasn't done for me, so why should I do it? I don't know how to do it. So instead of being like, nobody did it for me, so I need to learn, because my child is very, very important. His feelings are very important, and I need to learn how to attune to them. Instead, it's just excuse after excuse after excuse to keep her not having to change, you know? So far, there's zero insight. I mean, have you seen any insight yet in what she said? Any self-awareness or awareness of how she's affecting the kid? I mean, the picture of her, she has her back to the child, and the child's like drawing on the wall. You know, that is a desperate cry for attention. When children do things like that, they're just so desperate for attention, you know, that they're going to go to that extent, and she still doesn't notice. And as the child gets older, it gets worse, what they'll do for attention, you know. So then you see with this, oops, can you put it back on, Vilas?
Hi, I'm Udasina.
Oh, okay. So then what happens is that what happened when that boy gets older, did you see what he learned how to do? When we stopped it, when we paused it, did you see what he learned how to do? What did he learn how to do? At first he's drawing on the wall. That didn't get him very far. What? Go ahead, Jaya.
he was doing the dishes, as
Yes.
far as I saw.
Yes.
So it meant like he didn't seem happy, and
Yeah. He didn't. Look at his face.
Yeah.
So what did he? So what do you think he learned? Look at her. Oh, she's had such a hard day, and her
Yeah.
probably, I don't know, 8-year-old son is doing the dishes. So
Most probably he doesn't feel anything either, and so instead of seeing her maybe becoming angry at him, I don't know, then he's just thinking, well, better I'll do the dishes, so at least
exactly,
the mother is
he's
quiet
caretaking the mother's
sometime.
feelings already by age 8. That's right, Jaya. Good job. That's what he's doing. So he's learned. My mom's. I mean, and she said, "Oh, I had one too many drinks." You know, so what if I have one too many drinks? You know. So she could actually already be an alcoholic, because when you talk to people who are alcoholics, they'll be like, I had one too many drinks. And it's like, well, how many did you actually have? 10. You know, so that they always play it down. So if she's saying one too many, it's probably not that she's only had 2 drinks, you know. So, but she's, whether she had the drink or not, she's, if you're looking at that picture and you had to guess who's actually the parent there, wouldn't you guess it's the boy? So that's what's called parentified child. He's now 8 years old, he's doing the dishes because mom's, for she's too overwhelmed, and his face is just like, and it looks like he's burdened by that. But at the same time, like you were saying, Jaya, I hope mom doesn't want to get angry at me, or maybe she's depressed and she'll start crying. Maybe she'll get drunk again. Maybe if I do a really good job and I'm such a good boy, she'll love me. Because before he was coloring on the wall and wasn't getting her attention. So now if I do the dishes, will she love me now? But there she is, neglecting him. Like if the mother, imagine this is a one-off. Like something horrible just happened and she broke her leg or something and he was helping that day. That's an exception. That's not a neglectful mother. But the mother, if that were the case, that she broke her leg or something horrible happened in that one-off, she would be saying to her son, I know this isn't your job, sweetheart, and I really, really appreciate you helping me out. I've already called Aunt Matilda and she's on her way because it's not your job to do the dishes. You have school tomorrow. I want you to go take a bath and do your homework, and Dad will be home in half an hour to help you with the homework, and Matilda's going to come. So just for, you can do 2 dishes, but please don't do the whole thing. So he should get the message loud and clear. It's not his job, but also be appreciated. Like she should say, you're such a nice boy to help out, but it's not your job, and because the mother's job is to always be responsible. So if she can't physically do it herself, she needs to get the person in place who can. Never put it on the kid. Unless like I said, if she just broke her leg and like they're waiting for someone to come help her, and for some strange reason the dishes absolutely have to be done. But ideally in that situation, she'd be like, if you want to do your own dish, that's nice, thanks for helping out, but it's not your job. It's not your responsibility just because I'm not well right now. And she should already have in place the adult who's coming. Does that make sense? But you can tell by the look in that picture, this is not his first time he's doing the dishes. It's probably already the routine, And then she's probably after just still ignoring him. I'm sure she didn't thank him or anything. She's neglectful. So she's probably ignoring him, maybe on the phone or having another drink and say, hey, can you get me another drink? Something like that, Okay, thank you, Vila. So let's watch a little more.
So did what he should have done. He covered for me, so there were no issues there. He stepped up. I don't know what he's feeling, but that's fine. He handles things.
Okay,
he gets food
pause one more time. I don't know what he's feeling. That's fine. So the whole idea of an authoritative type mother or father, right, is that they're completely attuned to the child. And if you watch those 4 different parenting videos, when you saw the final one, the authoritative mother, she's completely in tune with how her daughter's feeling. And she's anticipating, oops, that's not like her, because I know her so well. I even know how she sleeps. I know how her face looks. I know she's a little down. So I'm proactively going to go call the therapist myself and meet with the school psychologist to try to, 1 email from a teacher and 1 little thing she's off with. And she's so attuned. She's like, that's not like my daughter. And I don't want it to get worse. And I don't know what's going on with her. That's a huge difference from the neglectful one who the son has like, it's so depressing, to see the son, like what he's going through. And she's still not noticing it. And she's saying, I don't know how he's feeling. And not my problem. Fine by me. He's doing what he should have done. Do you see how it puts the child in the position already? You do what you should have done. You know, if I can't do it, you do the dishes. Actually, that's what the husband should do. If the wife can't do it, there's two people who brought that kid into existence, right? Husband and wife. Or at least man and woman. I mean, two people brought the baby. So they're both responsible for that family now. And if the husband's no longer there, if he's at work or if he died or if they got divorced or something, it's her job to figure out how to make it work without relying on the kids. You know, and so for her to have the mentality, well, he's doing what he should have done, like zero appreciation and zero insight into how she's affecting him, you know? And I don't know how he's feeling. Basically, I don't care. Just do the damn dishes, basically, you know? So how do you think that that kid's going to be as an adult? Do you think he's going to care how he doesn't even know how he's feeling. All he's going to do is have this engine in him that he should just do. Take care of other people, especially those people who are really needy, and especially the ones who ignore me. That will be his favorite. The ones who neglect him and never, ever, ever appreciate him. Those will be his favorite types. To make him feel that he can never do enough, because that's how the mom's making him feel. And it's one thing if you're like, you know, 25 or 35, and you have a partner and you're doing the dishes, if it's the partner's job or something. And, you know, then, okay, that's fine, you can help out. But a little boy, to put a little boy in that position of doing dishes for the family, that's, you know, their brain is still developing. They're still very, like, innocent and very tender. You know, you have to be very gentle with that brain, where you put where you put their attention, and also you don't want to pressure. You don't want to pressure them, because when a child goes into a stress response, that it's their job to take care of the family like that, their brain can't develop normally. They're in this fight or fight response, you know, just anxious, you know, so poor Shunya. Okay, let's play a little more and see what other defenses she's saying.
I don't know what he's feeling, but that's fine. He handles things.
That's fine.
He gets food on the table, keeps the house decent, and helps with the younger ones when I can't. I don't ask for it. He just does it. Now, Shunya is an independent child. He leaves me alone. He used to be hyper
One more time,
and
sorry. I should have the pauser thing. Okay, there's a lot that just happened there, right? She said not only this, he gets food on the table, which means he's probably cooking, not only doing the dishes, cooking, and he takes care of the younger kids. And she's like, and you know, I don't ask for it, he just does it. Do you see how she's not taking any responsibility? Do you think all kids just do that in their home? No, all kids don't do it. You are asking for it, even though you've never said it, because you're not doing it. And he feels responsible. But you see how she's not like, maybe it's because I'm on the couch or I'm drunk. I am asking for it, but there's zero insight, zero reflecting on herself and how her behavior is affecting that child to act in that way. I don't ask for it, he just does it. And that's why I'm saying when people come into therapy, they are coming in with the same lack of insight that their parent had. So they're coming in saying, I didn't do it. He did it. And I always say, rewind back 2 frames, and you'll see that you actually did it. You caused that reaction in the other person. So but you learned it from your neglectful or permissive or authoritarian type of parent. All 3 of those don't have insight. Only that authoritative one does, you know. So for those other 3, they're not showing insight into what they're doing. And they think what they're doing is 100% right, and they're trying to convince the psychologist that they're right. So how are you as a kid going to have insight? Where is it going to come from? Does it drop out of the sky? No. You know, so that's why therapy is so tough, because we're going not only against you as an adult, but all the conditioning in your childhood of your parents being like her. You know? So then she said, oh yeah, he does it when I can't, which is probably every day, my guess is. But parenting, you know, these especially neglectful type, they underplay everything. I have a drink when things get too hard. I have an extra one. Yeah, right. If you had a little CCTV camera, it wouldn't be an extra one every now and then, you know. And he helps when things get too tough. No, it's not like when things get too tough, because it's probably a daily thing. That's why he's doing the dishes, and he gets food on the table, and he's taking care of the younger ones. He's probably bathing them, putting them to bed. Yeah. And she may have a mental health issue. She may be clinically depressed. Many times, you know, neglectful parents have a mental health issue. They're not trying to do that to their kid. If you sit down with them and you say that you did this, and they'll say, first of all, they get defensive, but second of all, they say, I love my kid. How could if I said, well, your kid told me that he doesn't feel like that you love him. What? Oh, he's my pride and joy. I love my kid. Like, you see what I'm saying? So in other words, Most of the time, they're not trying to hurt their child. They love their child. It's just that they're mentally sick, usually. And it hasn't been treated, so they don't realize it. Sometimes it could be depression. Sometimes it could be some other mental, for example, postpartum depression. It could be maybe they had like something happen, like for example, if it's a man who's being neglectful, maybe he's still triggered by what happened in the war. Maybe he's having PTSD. Women can have PTSD too. There's so many things that can make your mind not stable, not peaceful, not able to be there with your kids. Maybe the parent was sexually abused as a 5-year-old. So now they can't be there for their kid because they haven't worked on that issue. So now when they see their kid, it's triggering all their sexual abuse. There's so many strange things that can pop up being a parent that you don't even realize until you are a parent yourself and you're like, why can't I just connect with my kid? I mean, even if they have that realization, I don't know. But so I'm just trying to say that many of these neglectful parents are not, or permissive, or authoritarian. They're not trying to hurt their kids. That's why she's defending herself, because she thinks she's doing good. Let's see what else Udasina has to say.
I don't ask for it. He just does it. Now, Shunya is an independent child. He leaves me alone.
Okay, this is a good one. He leaves me alone. I mean, that is what probably you would say to somebody you hate. Oh, that person is finally, I would say that about a mosquito. I would say, oh, it's finally leaving me alone, right? Thank God. But about a person, another person, especially your son, oh, he's independent now, thank God, and he's leaving me alone. That means that she is making him feel, I'm sure, that he's a burden and he's a nuisance. And just get out of my hair. Oh, he's independent, thank you, God, and he's leaving me alone. I mean, and so many of these words she may have never said, but how she's treating him, he's picked up on it loud and clear. The body language is stronger than the words sometimes, right? And he's leaving me alone. And he's getting positive reinforcement for leaving her alone. Look at him. He used to be, she said, hyper and so damn needy. There is no child who's needy. No children are needy. I mean, if it looks needy, it means the parent's not attuned and giving the child what it needs. But so many parents, especially these neglectful type, give the kid the idea that they're needy. What do you mean needy? I'm 5 years old, you know? Yeah, what I need is an attuned mother. That's what needy means. It doesn't mean that there's a problem with the child. But when the parents use that, oh, he's really needy right now, instead of saying, oh, I'm really unattuned right now, I'm really unattuned right now, instead of he's really needy right now. An attuned mother is constantly adjusting herself to exactly what the child needs. Not in a permissive way where it's too much, where it's like just being their buddy and their friend, you know, but with boundaries, but always attuning to what the child needs. It's not about what you need as the mother from the child, which is what the permissive one is. I need you as my friend, and I can't lose that friendship, so I have to break all the boundaries just to keep you close as a friend. That's a different thing. But this idea that a child is needy it's not true. No child I've ever met is needy. Even the ones that are called the worst of the worst, the ones that are incurable and locked in the mental institutes, they're not needy. They just never got their needs met, and they're desperately trying for that. You know? So it's a direct reflection on the parent when they say that. On their inability to do it, you know? Sorry.
To be hyper and so damn needy. Always trying to sit on my lap or hug me or ask me if I loved him.
Here we go.
I used to think...
This is another part. So always trying to sit on my lap or hug me or ask if I love him. I mean, that is so sad. If a child has to be like, do you love me? To their own mother? That is a majorly insecure feeling. If you're not sure if your own mother loves you to the point that you're asking it, you're verbalizing it. And then she's like, oh, he's always trying, look at the picture. She's trying to like, get off me, you mosquito. Shoo fly, get away from me, you leech. That's how she's making him feel. Look at how young he is. Maybe 2 or 3. That's the message he's getting at that young age. And kids act like that if they haven't gotten it. He's showing just in his own behavior that he didn't get that from mom. He didn't get it, so he's trying to get it more. He's desperately trying to get it, you know? And that puts such a deep wound in you if your mother won't give it to you. Whenever the child is coming towards the mother, number one job of the mother is to embrace them. Doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter if you're at a wedding or whatever you're doing. Number one job is attune to that baby that is yours, that you brought into this world, who needs you desperately. And if the child is really, really seeming needy like this, that means that you need to attune more. You need to stop whatever you're doing, put your book down or whatever you're doing, and give 100% to it, and verbalize what's happening and say, I see that you really want to get on my lap. Come here. I would love to have you on my lap. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention to you. Please come here. Let me hug you. What did you want to tell me? What did you want to say? What do you want to do? I'm sorry to, leave you off on the side like you don't matter. I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention, was I? When I used to work with kids, I would say, like, I wasn't paying attention, was I? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, bad, Jessica, bad. And they're like, yeah, bad. I said, yeah, I'm bad, girl. So you can make it fun, too, because you can't be 100% perfect all the time. So when you recognize, when you acknowledge, I wasn't paying attention to you, I'm sorry, I was like, whatever I was doing, And they're like, yeah. And you come right down to their level, and then you play with them. You say, what do you want to do? You want to sit on my lap? Do you want to watch a movie? You want to read a book? What do you want to do? And then you give them 100% and whatever it is that you're doing instead, it's got to stop. That kid needs your attention. And the more desperate they get, the more you have to drop everything and go right into their world with them. That's what they need. And if it doesn't happen, guess how they act as adults? They're chronically going to be feeling rejected, abandoned, that you don't love them. And even if you do, that's also hard for them because they never got it before. And if you don't, that's also hard for them. So you can't win. You can't, because it's so deeply ingrained in their psyche that you don't love me and you don't care about me. So that's how they're going to think. And the hardest part is that they will create situations out of nothing to make you not love them and to make you not care about them. Not purposely. It's their samskara. It's a samskara of being unlovable. So they will act in ways like if someone keeps saying, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And it's like, you know what? I don't. Forget it. Just stop it. Because it's annoying. Because they're not securely attached. So they do things to push you away. Or they'll act so excited if you do one small loving thing. Wow, this is amazing. Like you did this thing. And it's like, this is normal. This is actually what happens in a normal relationship. So if they get either so insecure that they're asking you and asking you and asking you, it's exhausting. Or they're all excited about something small, or you do something nice and it's scary for them. So they do something to sabotage or push it away. There's so many ways that the offspring, the outcome, the shunya type, can sabotage potential for a healthy relationship. So the one that they'll go for, that they're the most comfortable in, is the person who neglects them. But it won't look like that. It won't look like they've picked mom. But they'll pick mom again. And then what are they going to do? They'll hang in there for life and try to get love from that same personality type who can never give it. And sometimes it takes years to see it. And then they're married with 2 kids, and then they're in therapy, and they're like, oh my God, I married my mother. It's like, yes, you did. Who else do you think you're going to marry? So I remember the first time I did this analysis, I was 20. I was 20, and I was taking a psychology class. My undergraduate major was psychology, was human development, but my specialty was early childhood development. And when I was taking one of those advanced classes, like my junior year, I think, maybe 20, 21 years old, that's what the class was. They would give us prototypes of different people, and they would say, how do you think their parents parented them? I remember taking the essay, analyzing, like, oh, the parents must have been like this and this. It was so much fun, So now, however many years, that's 33 years later, here I am, teaching it. But I've been looking at this topic for more than half my life. And so I think that's also, I'm sorry if it's coming across so intensely, because I know it's heavy, and sometimes I'm not sensitive, I think, enough to people who are hearing it the first time. Because I've been thinking like this and talking like this and teaching like this for a long time. So to me, it's like, oh, that's obvious. And I'm talking like, brrr, and I think some of you guys are like, what did she just say? Oh my God, I'm like that, So I'll try to slow it down. Thank God it's only once a week, right? You can digest it over the next week. But I'm sorry if it came across too intense. But I remember when I first learned it, I was ecstatic because I was like, oh my God, I can see why I'm like how I am. I can see why, that's why my sister's like that, and my mom. I was connecting all the dots, and I was like analyzing everybody on the college campus. And I had a boyfriend at the time, and when I went to his house, I'll never forget, I'm like, OMG, like I totally understood the dynamic between the parents and why his sister is like that, why he's like that. I was like, it was just fascinating, like, so I don't know if some of you guys are feeling like that when you have these like new lenses to see people and relationships, and it's really helpful when you see it, but it's a little hard at first when you're reflecting on yourself and going, oh, maybe I was made to feel needy, or I didn't get what I deserved as a child. That's the hard part. But then eventually you'll see you're not alone. It's kind of like join the club and look around, and you're like, oh my God, she's like that. And then when you see your own parents, what they must have also gone through to act like that. They didn't come out at the womb being neglectful. They had a soft, open heart just like you. So what the hell happened to them that made them be so indifferent to their own child? Okay, let's keep going with our friend, Shunya.
What is wrong with this kid? I really felt smothered by him, like he was just an overbearing burden. His needs were truly insatiable. Eventually he caught...
Okay, so smothered. How can you feel smothered by your own child? Just even think of that word. Smothered by your baby. Come on, he's an overbearing burden. And his needs were insatiable, and that is a chronic feeling. If you've had a neglectful parent, that you are left with as an impression that is like it's like a earthquake. What's it called? The aftershock. When there's an earthquake, like in California, it's still rippling through, and it's still, so that is like the earthquake aftershock of the ground is still rumbling into adulthood. This idea that your needs are insatiable because mom couldn't ever fulfill you. She couldn't attune, and she couldn't give you what you needed. So guess what? You will bring that into every relationship. You are especially the ones that become more emotionally intimate. You are always trying for more and more and more from that person. No matter how much they give, you want more. It's never enough. And if you actually question yourself on that, if you had a neglectful parenting style, especially a neglectful mother, look at yourself and see, okay, what's a relationship in where I feel like that person could give me more? I'm not getting enough from them. And then write, what is it that I'd like? Just if I could have anything I want from that person, write the full list, and you'll be like, oh my God, is this even humanly possible that someone could give me all that? It's a good exercise to see how much your inner child is projecting onto whoever that person is that you're emotionally connected to, and how much you're trying to get for them. It's unrealistic, and it's emotionally immature. I'm not trying to criticize, but it's actually what mom should have given you. So you're trying to get it from some adult person, especially if you're in an emotionally intimate and especially romantically intimate relation. You're going to, whatever mom didn't give, now it's going to be that person's job. But even if that person gives you more than kind of what they should, it's not going to be enough. It is not going to be enough. You're going to be continually wanting more and more because you're projecting what mother didn't give you, and it's like a deep wound that can never be filled. And actually, even if you go back to your own mother, imagine you're like, I'm doing some therapy now, mom, or I'm reading the Toxic Parent book, and I learned, watch this video. You're like that neglectful Udasina mom, and I want you to give me it's not possible, but imagine you said it to her, and she said, oh my God, all of a sudden, I drank a special tonic, and now I have all the insights, and you know what, you're right. I'm so sorry, my son, I'm so sorry, my daughter, I was so neglectful, and I'm going to get myself into therapy, and blah, 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 and tell me what it is you want from me now, and I'm going to improve myself to give it. Guess what? It's not going to change your samskara. That's important to know. Now you're an adult. The window of time for mother to have done her job, it's past now. Okay? So that's done. That chapter is done. The only person who can work on that samskara is you. And that's one of the big shockers in therapy. It doesn't matter if mom says, if she coddles you now and hugs. That doesn't fix. Your inner child now needs you to go in and give what he never got from her. It's very empowering when you realize that, because then you're not trying to get mom to ever say sorry or do, that she's doing her own thing. But even if she could, it's not going to change that samskara, or not much. It might put a little sprinkle of a rainbow on it, but the depth that needs to be done, that work has to be done by you, because only you know the depth of pain and struggle your inner child went through. So only you know how to attune to that and take care of him, and you or her, and you're making a relationship with him or her. So it's not a one-off mom apologizing. It has to be you regularly working with that insatiable desire to be loved, that your inner child's trying to fill in so many ways that aren't working, you know, through unsatisfying relationships, through being a workaholic, alcoholic, addicted to food, addicted to, being on video games, or addicted to your phone, somehow scrolling on something or other, but anything other than sitting with yourself. Because when you sit with yourself, that's when all the pain comes of being a neglected, emotionally neglected child. Some people are also physically neglected. You can't be physically neglected only, right? The mom has to be switched off emotionally too, but some parents take it to the extent where you don't even have food and clothes adequate, you know, and some are just doing it emotionally. But that leaves this insatiable desire. But the mom shouldn't be saying that. There's no such thing as insatiable desire of your child as a mother, and that they're smothering you, you know. That's how you feel if you're the partner of the person, because that means the person is trying to get you to give too much. You know, putting these unreasonable expectations from you, if it's your romantic partner, for example, or your friend, for example, but not for a mother to say that. But what happens is you end up making all your friends and lovers or partners feel like that. What the mom's saying is that's how you're going to make your friends and your partners feel in your adult life, if you're shunya. But the mom shouldn't be feeling like that, you know what I mean? If we had interviews with the friends, they would be saying that too, because you give the same feeling to friends, to partners, to anybody you're becoming intimate with emotionally, that you need more and more and more from them. Okay.
His needs were truly insatiable. Eventually he calmed down. Thank God, he keeps to himself and doesn't come to me anymore for every little thing.
Okay. It's like almost every sentence. So basically it's condensed, this mother. But so thank God he doesn't come to me for every little thing. So what that means is he's given up. He's kind of given up hope that mom could ever be there for him. And he's learned the only way to get love is just do the dishes, take care of the kids, do the cooking. But he's given up. That's why he's not coming for every little thing. And that's very sad. Some of these, you can watch on YouTube some of these videos of kids who grew up in orphanages. And you'll see, they're old black and white videos, probably from the 50s or 40s, right? And they'll show when the kids, they stop crying. They stop crying for mom because they've actually just given up. So these are children of neglectful parents. Because in an orphanage, how can they, first of all, attune to 20 kids or 50 kids? So it's not possible. So those kids end up, they stop crying. And they look like a zombie, you know. But it's not that they turn out like that as an adult, you know. It comes out in other ways. So this idea that he was, what was the sentence before? Oh, thank God. Thank God he stopped. So that's when he gave up. But he now is going to project that on everybody else he meets and try to get it from them. So let's see now what it says.
Yeah. Eventually he calmed down. Thank God, he keeps to himself and doesn't come to me anymore for every little thing. This kid was so sensitive for the first 7 years of his life. He was so demanding of my time, attention, and love. And he made me feel like I could never give him enough. I'm so relieved he stopped bothering me. He isn't a nuisance anymore. He stays out of my way and doesn't trouble me with all his messy feelings, or pestering me to play with him, or come to his school events, or cuddle him. He has grown up and become a helper in our family, which Lord knows I need. And that is a real blessing for me, so I can get on with more important things in my own life. Hey,
Yeah, so it's just the whole way through, right? So he's learned by a young age to become mommy's little helper, because actually who he was as a person and his needs, he was made to feel troublesome, a bother, smothering, insatiable, so he just turned all that off turned all that off, what he feels. I don't have to be involved with his messy feelings. Mom's number one job is to attune to him. What does attune mean? Pay attention to every subtle feeling. You can tell by the facial gesture, his mood that day. I mean, there's so many things you can pick up from a kid's feelings, moment by moment. And she just wants to disregard all feelings. Oh, thank God he's become independent now and he's finally a helper in the family and I don't have to deal with all those messy feelings, how troublesome. You know? So, this is our neglectful mother, and what does she say at the end?
Listen, Doc,
I turned
out fine and no one held my hand growing up. I don't believe in all that emotional coddling. You survive, you move on. People think being a parent means giving and giving and giving, but what do you expect from me? I'm only human. I can only give so much, and frankly, I've given more than enough to this boy. He's safe. He's got food, clothes, and a roof over his head. He goes to school. That is more than I had growing up. What more does he need?
Okay. So that's Udasina. She's very defensive, right? So she's completely defending her position. And, you know, did you see how she didn't mention anything about a father, a husband, any other help? But somehow she has 4 or 5 kids. You know, so she should have thought about that. She should have planned for that. She should have thought, okay, I already have 1 or 2 or 3. Like, how am I going to do this? Because it's overwhelming for me. There's nothing wrong with feeling overwhelmed by having a lot of kids. I think any mother would. But you don't just say, well, that's how it is, and stop being a burden. You actually get the proper support in place. If it means you need to move in with family members or whatever you have to do, but, you know, whatever you have to compromise somehow, but not on the kids' account. You have to get the proper things in place to get the help you need, to get the support you need, to somehow be there so the kid doesn't feel like it's their job, like they're a burden, like they're smothering you. But she's like, what could I do? I'm only human, so this is just how it is. She didn't say, well, I tried this and I tried that and I tried that, and the good news is I figured this thing out, and even if it means putting your kids in some sort of daycare or something they can go, somehow, it cannot just exist like that. But she has her head so much in the sand that she's not even trying. Because why? She's not really aware that there's a problem. You know what her only problem is? I'm feeling overwhelmed. She hasn't even, you know, she can't even see beyond her own nose to what she's doing to her kids. You know, so it's not that it's not overwhelming to have a lot of kids, and sometimes you don't plan and you just have them, and sometimes life just happens, but a responsible person would always be adjusting and figuring out how to get the proper support in place for your family, and realizing that your children are very sensitive and their whole personalities are forming based on how you treat them. Their heart is forming or closing down or opening based on how you treat them. And when you have a mother like that, who just wants you to basically stop smothering her and bothering her and being a pest, and just, you know, become her helper, you know, you're really damaging the kid's whole psyche and how they see the world, how they see themselves, you know, and then you end up getting shunya. You know, so I think next time when we meet next week, we'll analyze shunya to see the outcome of that type of neglectful parenting. If you guys have any questions about neglectful parenting or neglectful mothering or comments, I'd be happy to hear.
So there's one question here from Swati.
Okay.
She says, is she comparing her own childhood with her son's? He already has more than what I had growing up. Is it her defense?
Yeah, that's a defense. Yep. Common one, right? To say, well, you should see what I went through. You already have more than I have, so you should be grateful. I had to walk 100 miles barefoot or something ridiculous, you know. That's not an excuse for bad behavior, for bad mothering. It doesn't matter what you had. Guess what? Process that with a therapist. Don't dump it on your kid's head. You know? What else came up for you hearing, you know, about this neglectful mother? It's hard to hear. It's kind of heartbreaking.
One question from Krishnadasi. What if we don't remember, but only remember some bits and pieces of our childhoods? It feels like a block of some kind.
That's normal if you've had a difficult childhood. So I don't know what you mean, but what if you don't remember? But if you had a difficult childhood, it's normal to not remember very much. Why would you want to? So one of the defenses that the mind does is it'll block you. It'll completely block your memory because it's too painful. So usually in therapy, you can get into that. The therapist can help you. There's many techniques to start getting into that. The other reason you don't remember is because nobody wanted to hear your story. So you learn that what I think, what I experienced, and what I feel doesn't matter. And so that's why really good therapy, one technique that's really helpful is storytelling. Is when the therapist says, tell me your story, tell me what happened, write it down, read it to me. The reason why is because the therapist wants to hear every detail of what happened. And if you don't remember, that's fine. But what's interesting is the more you start telling the story and the therapist is saying, and then what happened? And where was that? And how did you feel? And what was the color of your shirt? I mean, then your inner child is hearing going, oh, somebody cares, somebody wants to hear. So surprisingly, the next week you'll be like, I remembered another detail. And it's like, yeah, because I want to hear. Tell me what happened next. Ooh, really? And I remembered another story related to that. Tell me about that story. So that's the healing. And usually you start remembering more and more when you get into therapy. And if you do this technique, if the therapist practices that technique of storytelling, having you tell your story. And that's very common, to ask what the story is, and to write it out and share it. Okay, Gaur Chandra.
Okay. I have a question. So we should work on ourselves after the survey, but also there's some, some desire to defend the parent. So how to do this both together? How to do this two urges together?
That's a good point. It's very common, number one, not to remember, and number two, to defend the parent. Those are the two most common things when you start doing this deeper work, because the inner child has learned that what the parent did in childhood is right, and they're going to adamantly defend it, because their whole personality was based on adjusting themselves to do whatever mom and dad didn't do, or whatever, to react to mom and dad. So now defending the parent keeps you intact with your personality. So you have to realize the part of you that's trying to defend your parent is a wounded inner child. It's not Gaura Chandra today. It's not your adult self whose buddhi understands how the mind is working. It's the wounded inner child, 5 years old, who's like, no. Don't throw mom under the bus. She didn't neglect me. You don't even know what she was going through. I mean, she had postpartum depression or whatever, the fill in the blank. So you have to understand it's a 5-year-old trying to protect the wounded inner child. Even when I worked with children who had been abused, they're going to protect their abuser. I will see the physical abuse on the child when he comes to school, and I'm like, we have to call it into the state, and I report it. And the investigator comes, and the child said, Jessica's lying. No, my mom didn't do that. And I'm like, you just told me she threw you down a flight of stairs, and punched your head in, and you have bruises all. No, that didn't happen. I just tripped and fell. So you see, the inner child will always defend the parent. And we have to stop being so enmeshed with inner child and realize, I understand that you're trying to defend mom or dad because you're scared and you want to protect them. But me, I'm a different person. I'm the adult that has adopted you from that toxic situation. And I have to look more clearly and honestly about what your parent did that hurt you, that's causing you to hurt yourself and others today. And I know that's scary for you, but you are not there anymore. You're not 5 living with mom who's neglecting you. You are 5, but you're with me. I've pulled you out of that situation, so it's safe for me to look at it, so I can learn how to heal you. It's my job now to heal you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good question. Okay, Vilas.
Then from Julia.
Okay.
So, if a child had a stepmother since very young age, rarely seeing the mother, did the stepmother have more influence on him?
It depends. Depends. It's not enough to go, and I don't want to analyze case by case. So I would say that would be a good question to unpack with the therapist. That's not a small question. It's a very good question, but I don't want to cheapen the answer, because it's a really good introspective question. You'd have to really understand in detail with the therapist, telling stories about your relationship with mom, what happened, especially at critical points, what happened, and with the stepmother, what happened, and then it would take probably at least a few months of therapy to unpack that one. 9-3.
My question is that how Shunya gets to the situation that when the other person is really loving, but he still or she still thinks that, do you really love me? Do you really love me? Like why and how it happens with him?
So with the way that we see people in our adult life is through how we were treated as a kid. Mm-hmm. So when a person is not loving, we're going to be like, that's love. When a person is neglectful to us, if we had a neglectful mother, we're going to think that's love. That feels right, that's love, you know. And when a person's actually really loving, we're going to be like, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Because that's not love. According to somebody who's been neglected. It doesn't feel right. Something feels off. You're going to feel like that person's smothering you. They're getting too close to me. Weird. Why would they want to spend time with me? Like, it's going to feel very strange for you. Whereas the person who's being neglectful, I mean, you'll still ask them, do you love me, do you love me? But for a different reason, because you're basically asking mom, do you love me, do you love me? But when the person really loves you, it's that same question is going to go for everybody. But for the one who really loves you, it's going to be because you've never felt it before. You can't believe it, and you can't even freaking believe that somebody would actually really love you, because you've been made to feel that you're a pest, you're a bother, you're troublesome, you know. And then you're going to look for all the ways they don't love you. They're loving you more in a way that you've never been loved before, and you're going to notice the way that they don't love you. I mean, it's so strange, actually. Yes.
So my question is there a difference in impact to the child by having a neglectful mother versus to neglectful father?
Yes.
What is it then,
yes.
please?
That's a very good question. So that's a deep one too. But in a nutshell, your mother is supposed to, her number one job is supposed to pay attention to your feelings. It can't be all about her feelings. It can't be about anything else other than your feelings. So that's mother's job. Emotionally neglectful mother is going to hit you a lot harder in terms of you being able to feel your own feelings, to be able to express your feelings to others as an adult. You know, you're not going to be able to do it because you don't know how you felt. She never validated how you felt. If you're feeling sad, she's like, you pest, or you're such a burden. Why? You're not going to do the dishes. If you're feeling sad, come on, get it together. I mean, that's the message she's going to give you. So if you have a neglectful father, you're going to be very low. You're not going to be confident in yourself and what you can do in life. You won't know your swabhava. You're not going to know what your personality's like. You're not going to know how to have a voice and stand up for yourself. You're not going to know, who you are, what you should do. So if father's neglecting you, because his job is to provide, protect, and show you who you are and play with you. So if he's neglecting you, you're going to miss out on those things. Like in our Ideal Father e-course, we list all those things. So if father's neglecting, you look at those things, they're not going to happen for you. If mother's neglecting, you can see it's more about your heart, your feelings, being in touch. It'll be very hard for you to be in a romantic relationship because it's all about emotions, But it's a good question. It hits you in different ways. And also, most of us didn't have two parents who had the same parenting type. Some of us did, but you might, if you take that parenting survey, take it once only thinking of mom and once only thinking of dad, and then see the two types. And then you can see how you're also a mix. You're not just shunya. You might be shunya mixed in with this other one, Okay. Thank you guys very much. Beautiful discussion. See you next week. Haribo. Haribo.